Welcome along to AVFTS Wrexham. I hope you're well whenever you're watching this video, whether it's the morning, afternoon, or evening. Big up to each and every single one of you. Make sure you smash a like, subscribe to the channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and get in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings on these two massive, experienced Premier League players. This is massive. This is the biggest transfer links I've seen yet with Wrexham, and these two players will do absolutely everything to bolster the quality of Wrexham's squad going into the Championship this season. The irony, these two players have played at the same team in the Premier League before, and the irony is it is Wrexham's opponent who they face on the first day of the Championship season, Southampton. Wrexham face Southampton away. And could Danny Ings and Stuart Armstrong return to play their former club for the Welsh Dragons? We'll have to wait and see. But big up to everyone. Let's get into the story then and see why this has major fruition. And I want to put this on record first and foremost. Wrexham have been linked to what I would say a lot of Premier League players who are outsiders, who are players who basically haven't broken into the Premier League rosters, who are squad players at a minimum. The likes, as we said, of Seb Revan, who once was at Aston Villa. We also have the likes of Owen Beck, who I did a video on the other day, an outsider at Liverpool. But when we're talking about Danny Ings and when we're talking about Stuart Armstrong, we're talking about established, experienced Premier League players. Danny Ings playing for the likes of Liverpool, Aston Villa, Southampton. Stuart Armstrong, very consistent player for Southampton in the Premier League. We're not joking here. These are two massive names. So let's get into the article, let's get into the story, and let's see why this transfer could happen. So it says here, Wrexham lineup double transfer for ex-Southampton duo, and debuts could be against the former club. That's what I was talking about, the fact that Wrexham draw Southampton away in that opening Championship weekend fixture. Now, it goes down to say here, Wrexham are keen on acquiring former Southampton duo Danny Ings and Stuart Armstrong. The Welsh club are preparing for life in the second tier for the first time since the 1981-82 season and are hoping to make a huge impact. The Red Dragons are secured an unprecedented 3 straight promotions and are ready to fight it out with the Championship's big boys. And Premier League experience could prove to be key for Wrexham's promotion hopes, with Ings per Sky Sports and Armstrong per The Sun on the club's radar. So where these sources come from, as I just said there, Sky Sports and The Sun have both been very strong in vocalising these. Now, if I was to take the more stronger link, it would be probably Sky Sports with Danny Ings, and it seems a more attainable option right now for Wrexham. Of course, we've just seen Paul Mullin leave to go to Reading on loan as a striker, and there are options, as I said, in that position. We also know that Fletcher didn't get a new contract extension, so Wrexham are in the market for a 9. Danny Ings then. Why is Danny Ings a choice? Well, it says here, Wrexham are likely to pounce for the pair when their respective contracts expire next week, meaning they will be free agents. Ings will end his 2-year association with West Ham, while 33-year-old Armstrong is set to leave cash-strapped Sheffield Wednesday. Massive, absolutely massive. Why is this massive? Because Wrexham are about to sign 2 experienced, established Premier League players for the sum total of £0. Danny Ings on a free transfer is unbelievable. Unbelievable. As will be Stuart Armstrong. But Danny Ings, a natural goal scorer, a player for me, I'm going to be honest, probably too good for the Championship. He's that lower league Premier League goal scorer. And at West Ham, it just hasn't worked out. And in my opinion, Danny Ings' tenure at West Ham didn't work out due to variable factors, a few injuries, but also the managerial situation and merry-go-round there, and the fact that West Ham wanted to keep signing this fairy tale 9, and plus Mikel Antonio being a club legend, basically keeping Ings out of the side constantly. But Danny Ings did feature back end of this season a bit more off the bench, and maybe West Ham fans thought he may get an extra deal as someone in resource and backup, but it hasn't happened. But not only are Wrexham the only club interested in Danny Ings, as you would expect, because when a player like Danny Ings is available for a free agent, he's not going to be short of offers. The pair were teammates during their time at Southampton and could be reunited this summer at the Stock racecourse. Should Wrexham pull off the double sweep, then it would immediately see the duo return to St Mary's on the opening weekend of the season. Ings, a three-time England international, will feel he can play a decisive role in the second tier. The 32-year-old struggled for game time last season, having featured just 15 times in the league, scoring once, which is something that Danny Ings won't like. He isn't someone who likes to be sat around on the bench. He likes to be playing, he likes to be a goal scorer, and he likes doing what he does best, putting the ball in the back of the net. And you can't do that when you're on the bench. It says here, Ings has been somewhat of a super sub during a spell at the London Stadium, with 41 of his 52 Premier League appearances coming from the bench. West Ham confirmed at the end of last season that Ings would not be continuing his career at the club. The striker has also been linked with Championship club Watford, but a move to ambitious Wrexham might be viewed as a more exciting prospect. And there's no doubt about it in my mind. Wrexham have that pull, they have that X factor, they have that Hollywood factor, and Ings, certainly, if he's got Championship suitors, and Wrexham is one of them, it's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer. Now, whether Watford look a more exciting prospect because Watford feel confident they could go straight back up to the Premier League and return there, you have to wait and see. But what Wrexham can offer, I'm sure, is something that many of these clubs will not be able to do. So, let's go on to Stuart Armstrong. Armstrong ensured a topsy-turvy campaign last time out, having begun in the MLS with Vancouver Whitecaps, but in January actually returned to England to play for Sheffield Wednesday. The Scotland international was informed that he would not be retained by Sheffield Wednesday at the end of last season, with his contract set to expire in 4 days' time. Wrexham are likely to garner much attention as they begin life in the Championship. And that is why this is very exciting. Not only that, it will be massive, absolutely massive. And that's a bit of quotes from Phil Parkinson and the fixture list, which we're not going to quite touch on today. But what I will say is those two players, retrospective enough, Ings still appearing off the bench for West Ham 15 times last season in the Premier League. Armstrong played in the Championship for Sheffield Wednesday, who are a toxic, negative, terrible club, but also had a great spell in MLS. And one thing about Stuart Armstrong as well, a very regular Scottish international, often found himself in the 26-man Scotland squad, played in the last Euros for Scotland. It's just an abundance of experience. Parky has talked about that Wrexham will be looking at the loan market, and that will be for younger Premier League stars, players who are on that brink of trying to break into Premier League first-team squads, but just need that game time and opportunity. But this market, the free agent market, is one that Wrexham must and should and will capitalise on. Go sign players who are going to cost you no transfer fee and just offer the wages that other Championship clubs simply cannot do. But make sure they're good ones. I promise you this, Danny Ings and Stuart Armstrong, if they stay fit, will be incredible signings for Wrexham. And that's the one worry I have about Danny Ings, is his injury record. Let's see how that fares. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions around those two players. Would they be good for Wrexham? Have you ever heard of them? What are your feelings about them? And if you haven't, after seeing what I've said, are you willing to see them come to the Stockcross Stadium and enjoy it? People, once again, another upload on AVFTS Wrexham. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'm out of here. Enjoy your day, whatever you may be. Ta-da.